But I say to you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. You've heard that it has been said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which spitefully use you and persecute you. I lived in a place for a significant amount of time, about a year, where this verse, give to them that ask you, and from him that would borrow from you, turn not away. And then later on, after love your enemies, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them that spitefully use you and persecute you. They would use those two verses in connection, and therefore willingly remain in poverty, refuse to do any kind of gainful employing work, and would confront you or me or many other people who profess to be Christian and try and actually follow God's words, and would say, give me money, give me food, take care of me, take me here, take me there, drive me places. And if you say no, you're being lazy, you're being slothful, you quit your job because you refuse to work hard as God calls us to, and they would say, oh, you're not a real Christian. And Jesus said, give to him that asks of you, and from him that would borrow of you, turn not away. And they would guilt trip honest, God-fearing Christians into giving them free money as their livelihood, as their sustenance. Refuse to work, refuse to be gainfully employed. Not that they couldn't, but that they absolutely would not put themselves out there to do hard work and to actually earn a living. And then later on, some other people would defend it and say, okay, here it says, pray for them which spitefully use you and persecute you. They'd be like, well, Jesus said, give to those who would spitefully use you. They would say, even though they know what they're doing is wrong, and they're using you spitefully, they're telling you, they're commanding you to help them, and they're using you spitefully because they know you're trying to do God's work, you're trying to be a good witness to them, they would take advantage of that and spitefully use you. And they'd say, nope, you still got to do it. You must accept being spitefully used because of what Jesus said here, even though it said, pray for them which spitefully use you and persecute you. I can understand trying to be an honest follower of Jesus, but these words of Jesus can be so taken out of context and abused. It is not right to enable someone in their refusal to work for their own sustenance, to take care of themselves. It is a sin to enable them in that failure and laziness and slothfulness. And to defend it is nothing short of wickedness and iniquity. To say it's okay if they're going to take advantage of you, whether they're a Christian or not, it's just not okay to support someone in willful refusal to do right, to sustain themselves, to earn, to demand that other people take care of them just because they are Christian and they're supposed to be taking care of the poor. I can see caring for the poor, being charitable, I can understand that. But demanding it and have it be forced on you is not God's ways. It's not righteous to force someone to do work for someone else or to give what is theirs to someone else because that someone else refuses to do anything for themselves. And so I left. Here's why. Another verse in Proverbs. I took notes a long time ago about this issue. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. What does that mean? It means don't steal from people. It also means don't lie in saying how much other people owe a third party, or how much of what is yours you ought to give to someone who refuses to earn it. Giving someone a false amount compared to what you are receiving back, buying things. I can understand charity, but demanding that you give more than what you are receiving is a false balance. You're lying about worth. Another verse, Proverbs 20:23. Diverse or different weights are an abomination to the Lord, and a false balance is not good. Pretty much the same thing. Be honest, be a good steward in what you are receiving and what you are giving. If you are giving someone more than you ought, you may be enabling them, and you are taking away from God's gift to them, because God may be leading them in a manner into growth. But if you are taking care of someone that they don't have to follow God's calling, that they're comfortable in their life because you're the one taking care of them, you may be blocking God's pull on their life. And God does use poverty to turn people around many times. That's rock bottom. God uses rock bottom to help people know that they're on the wrong path. If you are receiving, if you're stealing from people, obviously that's wrong. But if you're giving in a wrong manner, it's enabling and it's also wrong. There are many other verses that make this very clear. 2 Thessalonians 3:10-12. If anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. Allow them to go hungry. You could keep dishing out support and food and money to them, but if they're not willing, if they refuse to do good work, to sustain themselves as God has made them capable, so that they can then be part of the community and help out the entire community and not just be lazy, selfish, this is how we are to treat them. Let them not eat. For we hear that some among you walk in idleness, not busy at work, but busy bodies. Now such persons we command and encourage in the Lord Jesus Christ to do their work quietly and to earn their own living. This is also in the Bible, and it can't be ignored. Galatians 6:5, for each will have to bear his own load. I'm not saying that we should not be charitable and care for each other, but if someone absolutely demands that you care for them because you're a Christian and spitefully uses you and demands that you still take care of them even though they know what they're doing is wrong, it would be right to just stop. Don't give them free money, their free food, their free care anymore. There's a time and a place to care for someone wholeheartedly and give them everything they need, but it's not forever. A few verses later, Galatians 6:7, do not be deceived, God is not mocked, for whatever one sows, that he will also reap. In their life, character-wise, and also the good work they put into their job, their calling, their field, and they will get back from it. If you do nothing, if you sow nothing, eventually it is totally understandable that you're going to get nothing back. Not just demand that everyone else who is sowing well care for you, and do so willingly, even though they know that you know you're spitefully using them. No. 1 Timothy 5:4. In context, this is talking about not providing for relatives and members of your households, right? But the context is explained in 4. If a widow has children or grandchildren, let them first learn to show godliness to their own household and to make some return to their parents, for this is pleasing in the sight of God. Later on, verse 8, but if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So yes, care for your family, but not at the cost of their relationship with God and their ease in sin. If you are enabling them and making their life very comfortable in sin, you are not helping them. Their relationship with God is so much more important than their comfort and their full stomach. I just wanted to read all that to you because those are some of the reasons why I left that place. Because enabling was rampant and abuse of Jesus' words was taking place. So please be careful when you read the words of Jesus. Take it in context and see how it applies. Pray about it. You could be harming people in your attempt to help them. And it happens all the time. People will take advantage of your goodwill, of your good intent. And Jesus said, don't only be as harmless as doves, but also be wise as serpents. Your goal is not to hurt people. Your goal is to help them. But sometimes the manner of helping someone might, in the short term, seem mean. It might seem unkind if it helps them grow and become an adult. Okay, here's a great example. When a baby is nursing with his or her mother, they're perfectly happy with that. They're comfortable. They're getting what they need. But eventually that has to stop and they have to be weaned. They need to learn how to drink from a bottle. And that baby is not going to like it. They're going to think you're being mean. Why are you taking away what I need in order to survive? Yes, you do need nourishment, but you have to be able to get it yourself sometimes. That's being an adult. And this happens in your relationship with God as well. You can't just go to other people for your relationship to grow with God. You need to go to God yourself and grow in your relationship with Him. And that can play out in your job, in your family. Don't enable people by just giving them everything that they want. And even if they need it. If they need it, yes. If they really cannot help themselves, do so for a time. But like the birds, feeding their baby chicks in the nest, giving them all the food that they need, there comes a time where you're going to have to kick them out of the nest and they're going to have to grow and use their gifts that God has given them. And it's going to hurt and it's going to be hard and it's going to be a growing experience. And they might hate you for it for a time. But there is something more important than their comfort. It is their growth in their relationship with God and being able to care for themselves and eventually care for their family. We are to lead leaders. We are to grow and help people grow into a capability where they are so able that they can then grow more people to become able. So yes, what Jesus said is true. Turn your cheek, go the extra mile. If some people ask of you, give to him that asks of you, and from him that would borrow of you, turn not away. Love your neighbor. Pray for them that which spitefully use you and persecute you. For a time, yes, love people in that totally self-sacrificing manner, but not forever. Don't enable people to fail in their calling. Don't lead them to hell or away from their calling by keeping them comfortable. Take Jesus' words in context and apply reality to it as well. Jesus is not in a vacuum. He's not speaking in a vacuum here. He created our reality, and you can't ignore all of the laws that he's put in place, the laws of nature, the laws of interacting between people. You can't ignore that. Take his words in context with how he created life and existence.